The journey of caring for a loved one who is living with dementia can be quite challenging. The aim of this podcast is to make caregiving less daunting and more fulfilling. On this platform, we share knowledge, understanding, and experiences. We enlighten, give hope, and encourage, and in the process, create positive awareness about different aspects of dementia. Welcome to my podcast, Dementia Caregivers Corner. My name is Juliah Ratladi. Dementia Care, how deep is your love?
In today's episode, we have a remarkable guest, a young lady driven by a profound passion for caregiving. With a background in dentistry and an ardent desire to share knowledge, she has embarked on an incredible journey as an aspiring author. Our guest's journey with the world of dementia caregiving took root during her volunteer experiences at long-term care facilities. This invaluable hands-on experience deepened her understanding of the challenges faced by dementia caregivers and their loved ones. Motivated by this insight, she has taken on the mission to share knowledge and provide support to as many people as possible. What fuels her passion? The unwavering dedication of her mother, a caregiving role, who inspired her to pen down a book titled A Family Caregiver's Guide to Dementia, How to Nurture Your Loved One and Yourself Through the Journey. For her, writing transcends the mere sharing of information. It's about being present, fostering genuine connections, and offering heartfelt solutions. Her goal is simple yet profound: to be a compassionate companion to dementia caregivers, lending a listening ear, understanding their journey, and walking alongside them. She firmly believes in standing in solidarity with those who dedicate their lives to caregiving for their loved ones. Without much further ado, let's welcome in today's episode, Christina. Christina, welcome to Dementia Caregivers Corner podcast.
Thank you so much for this incredible opportunity and the amazing introduction.
Let's get into it then. Christine, there are so many people out there in the world who do not know dementia. There are many people who have not heard of the word dementia. I was one of those people who have never heard of the word dementia. I want you to explain what dementia is to someone with no knowledge of dementia or limited knowledge of dementia.
So just similar experience like you. I had no idea what dementia is. And I am from India, basically, and I moved to Canada 4.5 years ago. Started volunteering at long-term care, and then I came across dementia patients and what dementia is. So for somebody who has no idea what it is basically a disorder or a collective general term we use for those who are affected by it and their cognitive functions are also affected. So in simple terms, their memory, their thinking, their daily functioning abilities, their judgment, all of those basic things that a person would do without any efforts are affected. And it's not a disease in itself, but a disorder which affects the different parts of brain and that collectively impaired the cognitive abilities of a person.
So do we have causes of dementia? Is there anything that we can say this causes dementia?
As well aware with the dementia terms we are now, there are types of dementia and each type has a particular cause. So for example, most common form of dementia that most of us has heard about is Alzheimer's disease, right? So Alzheimer's disease is caused by this abnormal protein deposition inside and outside of brain cells that impaired its communication. And it affects the main part of brain that's called hippocampus, which is responsible for memory and thinking. So the first symptom of this patients would be memory loss or word judgment, right? Or thinking. Similarly, second would be vascular dementia, which would be due to cardiovascular diseases or heart disease or a stroke. So because of the impaired blood flow to the brain cells, it will act up, and then that part of the brain which is impaired by the blood flow or the less blood flow would reach that part, would affect the person's symptoms. So particular part of the brain will particularly affect that portion of the body function. You might see that person not being able to drive normally or not being able to concentrate in one particular function. Before, they were okay to do groceries, manage their financial things, or do basic things, but now they get confused. They cannot differentiate between things, and those would be initial symptoms. Similarly, would be Lewy body dementia. That's another type of dementia. And that would be due to Lewy body protein deposits on the cells of brain, which would give symptoms like Parkinson's disease, say tremors or muscle stiffness and visual hallucinations. So those person might see somebody who's not there actually and speak and be confused. And maybe memory loss is not their first sign, but something like this would be. So it all depends. And sometimes the cause is unknown or it's kind of a mixed dementia. So it all lies in the diagnosis and the early signs and symptoms one can identify.
Yes, when you're talking of diagnosis, I'm wondering here, like how easy it is to get diagnosed for dementia.
I believe that a person itself or their family member would be the first person to know that something is wrong with me. So that starts from right within you. But then comes the acceptance of the unknown or getting that reality check that something is wrong with me. Even we as a person might not accept that we have some disorder or some disease going on. And it's not physical, but it's more of a brain or a mental function that is affecting. So when you're diagnosed or when you get a proof by doctors, that's when you realize that, okay, something is wrong with me. But second most person would be your caregiver or your loved ones that is around you, right? Like, for example, my mom, my dad, or my sister, I'm living with them for like more than 20 years. And if something is wrong with them, I can tell that, okay, this is something abnormal. And that's when you go and get it checked that it is not normal for them. Like thrice in a week, she forgets to get the grocery, or thrice in a week, she forgets the way to home. So that's the initial portion. And then once you go to doctors, there are various ways to get this checked out. They have this series of questions they ask to patients to know their cognitive function abilities. And then that's where you know in what stage you are in.
You are giving us some processes like, okay, look at this person. How are they acting? Is this normal? Because you know them. And then you can refer them somewhere for diagnosis. That is in Canada. Do we have the same in India, like memory clinics?
Not the similar kind of professionals that we see here, but also in India, there are medical professionals or healthcare professionals who are aware of dementia, who knows how to treat the symptoms and how to acknowledge dementia. But at the same time, it's the awareness and knowledge of people in India to know that something is wrong with the family member or something is wrong with them, and to acknowledge that they need to see the doctor. That's the main thing. I'm sure healthcare system is improving day by day everywhere, and they are figuring out new ways to treat Alzheimer's disease and dementia. But it's within the community and the people that they need to first acknowledge it and see the doctor, right? That's more important, I guess.
It is. We perceive dementia in different ways, Krishna. There is stigma attached to it. How do people in India perceive dementia? Where I'm coming from, there are so many articles that have been written about sub-Saharan Africa that they think dementia is something that has to do with bad luck and things like that. So how do people in India perceive dementia?
So definitely a lot of stigma going around in India. As you know, it's a mixed culture country, right? There are so many like subparts and then so many cultures and communities. And so does the stigmas and myths around it. First of all, there are not a lot of cases of dementia, or if there are, people don't know that they have dementia. So the first reason would be lack of awareness, I guess, because the societies and communities do not know what can be symptoms or what can be done when somebody is going through this. They think that it's a normal part of aging, which it is absolutely not, right? And they need to differentiate it that, oh, she's 65 years old and she starts forgetting, it is okay. Or she gets irritated and she gets cranky and she doesn't want to do something. Oh, it's okay. With old age, that happens. They become like a child. So, first of all, you need to recognize those symptoms. You need to address those. And that too without any judgment, with support, with compassion, and with empathy that your loved one is going through something. And I think in India, mostly it's the educational part and the rural part where they think that it is something to do with their age or something to do with the culture or spiritual causes. So just like how you say it, it's because it's considered a bad thing or something, and they think that it is something related to mental health, right? So I think communities in India are scared to talk about mental health issues. They think that if they talk, they will be judged by the society, and people will talk to them in a different way than usual. Definitely, it is improving day by day by the social forms and media, and they're trying to acknowledge it and they're trying to make awareness through it. But there are still some parts where people are not understanding the importance of mental health and understanding that certain disease like dementia, they need to be treated with a lot of patience and care and support. So I would say that, yes, there is a huge difference in understanding.
So we have to continue to create awareness.
Absolutely, yes.
And, the more we talk about something, the more it gets out there, especially in this era of social media. So when you're talking of support, how do you think we can support dementia caregivers?
I think as a part of a community, wherever you stay, but you need to understand that as a caregiver, that person is going through a lot, like emotionally, physically, mentally. They are constantly trying to meet up their needs, their loved ones' needs, and everything. So that single person is trying to be a person in itself. They're trying to handle their relationships, they're trying to handle their loved one's health and their work balance and whatnot. So at least all you can do as a part of community is to support them, is to be a friend, listen to them without any judgment, provide support, share stories or personalized blogs. I have seen websites where, they share stories that, oh, my loved one is going through this, but we tried this one. So something like that. And of course, social media is a strong tool right now. So I have seen a lot of Instagram accounts or Facebook groups where caregivers can vent without any judgments or share their stories. So that's the part of being supportive or being a community where they can put themselves outside their comfort zone and share what they're going through.
Talking about support groups, I've realized that there are Facebook groups back home for dementia caregivers. I'm a member. I'm also a member of support groups around the world in America where we've met actually here in the UK. And I've realized that on our own, from where I'm coming from, they still don't share freely. I don't know how to put it because it's so sad. Because if you don't share freely, how are you going to be assisted? You know what I mean? They still,
yes.
I think it's because of that stigma. They don't want to be associated or their family to be associated with kind of mental illness, as you have said prior. I don't know whether you experience the same in India. Are you able to freely share stuff like the UK people would share, like the American people would just go on the Facebook and say, one lady was saying, I am tired of taking care of my husband. I just want to do this. I want to run away. Can somebody from your country just go in there and share with strangers?
I think it's about the way they get treated, right? So in groups like America or UK, people know this, the whole thing, and people are supportive. They are not non-judgmental approach is the main thing. But for example, even myself, when I joined the groups, I was hesitant to even react or reply to their comments because we come like, for example, I come from a community where we are close-minded. Like we don't open that easily, and because we have fear that someone from the outside would judge me or think that, oh, she's sharing too much information of her family to some strange people, they can take advantage and whatnot, right? But when I started joining these communities and the way they get treated here, I realized that the strength within these communities is that you listen. Maybe don't offer solutions, don't say anything, okay, but just listen to them. I think that's what they need. Like, yeah, definitely they need solutions, but they don't need somebody to judge them or tell them, oh, you don't do this, do that. But maybe somebody who can just offer an ear that, okay, I'm listening, I'm here for you, it's okay, you go through this, we're here for you. Or anywhere where they can share what they're going through actually. Now, it like some people like me, maybe I still won't be able to share the what I'm feeling, maybe not my emotions. So I write a journal, or I try to connect with a family member that is trustworthy, and I try to tell them that, this is happening. It's the venting process that needs to be done. Bottling up your emotions is something that would destroy you within inside. It's not good for any human being. And as a caregiver, you need to be strong to provide support to your loved one. If you are not strong enough, how would you able to be there for them, right?
I extremely love what you just said.
Thank you.
Because of our different cultures, we express ourselves differently. I just loved when you said, when you feel like venting, write it down, because you are still being afraid of being judged, because our society where we are from, they judge,
Yeah.
or maybe somehow we don't want to put it all out there for the public, which is one thing which is a strength for these communities this side, because they are free to express themselves. And as they express themselves, they get assistance from these groups.
Yes. And that's so good. I really like the way the communities work here, because there is a strength inside, and you can see that they're freely letting their emotions go through. They can write everything, and I feel that I wish I could be this person who can express so nicely. I'm not that good at expressing, and I think that's the reason I'm writing this book instead of putting it out there.
Okay. All right, but we will see it anyway. Okay, going forward, there is a concept called person-centered care, which was made famous by Tom Kitwood in Dementia Care. What do you understand by person-centered care, and how is it different from the traditional mode of care that we used to?
This is a really good topic that you just talked. So, person centered care is, in simple words, it's like creating your own recipe. You know the dish, you know the standard recipe, but when you put your own essence and your own ways of mixing and creating that dish in your own way, that is where person centered care comes in. For example, long term care or those care homes, right? They have a schedule that, okay, if person is acting like this, maybe give them medicine or symptomatic treatments, and a certain way to approach all patients. Now, person centered care is something that when I know this person is coming from this country, XYZ country, coming from XYZ culture. She has this mother tongue, and she likes, or her background was a musician or a cook, right? And when she's acting up strange and anxiety and is not willing to do anything, maybe putting up that music or distracting her with a cooking recipe or trying to distract her with what she likes is how person centered care approach works. So it's not only medicines, but it's also the way you know that person. And I think that's why it is so important that you're trying to put this one traditional method to all patients, but they all are different individuals. They have different backgrounds and professions, and this person is not maybe the same one that he used to be or he or she used to be, but there is a part of it that still exists within. So if you try to bring that part in, if you try to give them that painting or give them some photographs and try to distract them, I know it is so difficult sometimes, but maybe try with patience, and it requires a lot of efforts, we all know. But person-centered care work on this concept of caring for that particular person with their unique needs.
Actually, somebody again said, when you are dealing with someone who is living with dementia, you are dealing with that person and that person alone. You're not going to take whatever you're using for that person and apply it on another, because there are different dementia in there. These people are totally different. I guess that's where person-centered care comes in.
Yeah, you just put it right there.
And then again, when we talk of person-centered care, for me, Krishna, to be able to care for you, you have to tell me how you want things to be done. I think they call it advanced care planning.
Yeah.
Yes. But I find that in most cases, the people that I have cared for who did not have advanced care planning, and it's more like now we're doing guesswork, like, would they want this? Would they want that? What is the importance of having an advanced care planning?
So advanced care planning is like giving your loved one, giving some control. I know that sometimes they cannot make choices, but if you give them two choices, they'll pick one. And trying to be there with them with how they want it to be. Let them decide sometimes what they want. I know that you have to make decisions on their behalf, but you have to be there and give them some control so they don't feel like they're completely dependent on somebody. They need to feel some control in their hands. And I think having this, all the background information and all the past of there would help a lot in this advanced care planning, because you know then that what this person was and what they want and now how they want this kind of approach. It's like trial and error. Once you try one method and that works with this person, you know that, okay, maybe this person might like this way, or this way that does not work with this one. So let's remove it. So it's trial and error kind of thing.
Yes. And they were saying, when you have your advanced care planning in place, it makes life easier for those who are caring for you.
Definitely, yes. Yes.
On another topic, I think we talked about supporting caregivers, but I have read some articles that say dementia caregivers suffer more stress and burnout compared to caregivers of other illnesses. Why do you think that is the case?
So now imagine this, a person who is living with their mother through the whole life. Okay, you know this person, they have seen the mother being everything, like from dressing them up to sending them to schools, helping them in studies, and then being a pillar of strength, handling all financial decisions and everything from the childhood. Now you have grown up and you see the mother, this person seeing the mother declining in cognitive abilities, losing a part of it slowly. And you see that the mother is still there, but the person is grieving what mother used to be, what she used to be, right? So as a caregiver, as a dementia caregiving, you are not only taking all those physical stress of taking care of your loved one, but also seeing them fading away slowly. That's what affect you the most, like that emotional stress that you're going through, the guilt that is building up through, because not all the time you have the patience to deal with the situation. Sometimes situations heat up, and sometimes you say something and later on you realize that I shouldn't have yelled or I shouldn't have forced them, and that guilt stays in, it bottles up. also the emotional burnout, the burnout that you're 24/7, you're caring for this person and you still cannot help them completely. So it's all together, it's collectively, it's a lot of things going on with that person as a dementia caregiver. Because then you are handling your relationships, you are relying, like you're trying to get support from community, but guess what? You want to get support from your siblings, from your spouse, and they act like they do not want to help you. I have seen families where only one person or one daughter would be the caregiver for mother, and others won't even show up. So those kind of things affect you as a caregiver, and it's a lot to deal with. I think that is the main thing in dementia caregiving, that you are losing your
Yeah.
loved one and yourself in the process.
It's so sad, Krishna. It's so sad because I've experienced that with some family caregivers. It's sad. That's all. Like
I
when
know.
you were just describing that, I could see each and every person that I have come across battling with caring for their loved
Yeah.
ones.
And it's a
Sad.
sad irony that the person who used to be hero in your life is now completely dependent on you. And you have to accept that reality and keep walking through the life, keep showing them the support and being there with them, right?
How can we support them, or what should they engage themselves in to be able to give this care to their loved ones, to reboot themselves, to have that energy? Because I've seen some, the energy would have long gone. They're just hanging in there, trying to assist their loved ones, but they don't feel like doing it anymore. How can we help them as a society?
I think so. Maybe you may not be able to help them with caregiving, but giving them a hand in other tasks, say whatever they need to get it done outside the house, you can help with that. Or giving them resources like respite care, where they can take a break for themselves, take a day off. Sometimes it is not possible, I understand, but when you find these resources, when someone can fill in for a day or two, and then maybe you can take that time off for yourself, go out, spend some time with your friends and family, or do some activities that you like. You need to step out of that world for a day to get back in more stronger. And also, I think writing a journal, if you are not so good like me to put up your emotions and keep yourself out there, maybe writing a journal is something that helps you a lot, or doing some activities that you like. But you need to step out of this world for, I would say, once a week or at least for one day to get back more stronger, right? So for caregivers, I would suggest that. And then those support groups that you are in, you have to keep staying in it to get yourself out, to get more help, or spend time with people who are similar situation like you. So maybe they can help you with some situations, or you never know, somebody can help you from somewhere, right?
That's very true. I think one person or one lady shared something on Twitter about an organization that is assisting dementia caregivers for respite, and they are just doing it for free. I've forgotten the name. I think I'll search it and put it on the notes. Yes, we need people like that to go out, because I know what I'm talking about. Dementia caregiving is strenuous.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we talk about what's in your book, is there any other thing that you wanted to add on that I didn't ask you that we think is very, very important for dementia caregivers?
I think we discuss all different aspects of dementia caregiving. But at the end,
Yes.
all I would say is hang in there, be there. You get the support. You're not alone. And of course, everybody around you, maybe they are not, some people are not good, some people are great, but you have to focus on positive things and you have to keep going. So it's a saying, right? It's a common saying. There's a will, there is a way. So go hang in there, I would say.
Definitely. So you have this book that you shared with us or with the public that is called A Family Caregiver's Guide to Dementia, How to Nurture Your Loved One and Yourself Through the Journey. Tell us, for people who would want to, who maybe have access to your book, what are they going to benefit out of that book?
So this book, basically, it's not only like, I'm not saying that it's only for those who are caregivers, but for all those people who have no idea what dementia is, or who are already caregivers, or who are going to be the caregivers, or somebody who wants to know more about dementia caregiving or the disease in itself. This is a general guide that I'm trying to put everything inside as much as I could. So it's a well-researched guide that has what dementia is. And I have divided it into 3 clear parts. So one part would give you just an overview of dementia, the causes, the types, and treatment options, and diagnosis, and whatnot. And then the second part would be about caregiving. So just like how we discussed, that person-centered care approach, or difficult situations and emotions that you have to deal with your loved one, and how can you deal with it, different approaches and strategies that I believe that can help caregivers in their journey. And the last part would be for caregivers in itself. So caring for themselves, how they can get themselves a break, and also what they can do to get more support, to be more centered in their life, and to realize that there is more than dementia caregiving. They have themselves as well as a human being, and they have to treat themselves. They have to take care out of this guilt and emotional roller coaster and physical strain that they're going through. And then there's some legal, financial, and healthcare planning is also there. There's personalized care plan, and I have tried to put resources, and I'm sure that caregivers would benefit from this guide. And I'm really excited for this as well. I'm really happy to spread this knowledge as much as possible. And even I'm announcing here as well, anybody who wants a free copy of my book, I'm willing to share it. They can email it to me on kppublishing24@gmail.com, and I will be happy to provide a free copy. I'm really glad that I have this opportunity to share the knowledge, and I came across you, and I'm so happy that we're doing this and this incredible opportunity. I cannot thank you enough.
I'm thankful too to have met you. I was just excited when I saw your post, like, okay, I want to assist. Because see, with us, this calling is about assisting other people. Really, It's just about assisting other people, because we have seen what people go through, and we have seen that when you don't know, how can you get assistance when you don't know? You cannot. So I was excited, and I'm happy that we finally talked, had a chat.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, on my side, I think we have addressed the 3 components of your book. Really, I wasn't aware of that. The first part about what dementia is and the causes. The second part about the practical steps on
dementia caregiving.
On dementia care.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good then. That's good. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Juliah. It was really amazing talking to you and sharing all this. Thanks a lot. It was really nice meeting you.
Dementia care. How deep is your love?